Heading into the final segment of the Schilling Show for today. Hey, thanks so much for joining us weekdays from noon to 2. Make an appointment with the Schilling Show because you don't want to miss a moment. Governor Gary Johnson is with us. He's going to be speaking tonight at the Northside Library at Albemarle Square, 7 o'clock p.m. Everybody's welcome. It's free and open to the public. Again, Northside Library tonight. Topics from A to Z. Of course, he'd love to hear from you and any challenges or questions you have about things he's taken a position on today or will speak about this evening. And it's sponsored by the Albemarle and the Charlottesville Republican parties here locally. So just so you know, and we've got a lot of callers on the line. So we're going to go to phone calls. Oh, by the way, I did want to make a correction. The website is ouramericainitiative.com. ouramericainitiative.com. Alrighty, let's go to the phones right now and let us say hello to Doug. Doug, welcome to the Schilling Show, and you're on with Governor Gary Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson, and thanks so much for being on. Appreciate your efforts and your thoughts on the subjects. I got to say I agree with you on most everything. I got a question for you, though, and perhaps you can enlighten me. In talking about the Arizona immigration bill, you made the comment that you thought it might lead to racial profiling. Let me just preface this with saying I've got a lot of sympathy and respect for the workers from Latin America that come up to this country. I've worked with them, run crews, and so forth and so on. But the immigration problem is with Latin people, so why in the world shouldn't racial profiling be used? I mean, that's who is here illegally.
Well, Doug, I think there's a reason that why the federal government's been unable to enforce these laws, and that is that they're unenforceable. Of course, here in Virginia, being brown is being a little different. When you talk about the border with California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, everybody's brown. And what's going to happen is you're going to pick up a fifth-generation Hispanic in southern Arizona who has served admirably in Iraq, and he's going to be detained because he doesn't have papers. And I'm just citing an example of something that is going to happen. And I'll just, like I say, I'll just get back to the fact that a lot of smart, hard-working people are involved in the federal government and immigration and border protection, and they cannot enforce these laws. So to me, to make this workable, really, it's about work visas. It's about legal immigration, individuals, Hispanics with work visas. If there's no work, they're going to go back, and that's actually been the phenomenon of late. Is that we've seen illegal immigrants return. There aren't as many legal immigrants because there aren't as many jobs available. But to really monitor this and to make it effective, I think you've got to hit the intake points, which would be employers, making it easy for them to employ legal card-holding work visaed individuals, and you got to make it easy for individuals to get these work permits. And you could also use intake points with the hospitals and the schools. But this isn't welfare. This is work. And keep in mind that when these individuals come to work, they do pay taxes and contribute to the system.
977-1070 is the phone number. The phone lines are virtually full here. We do have one line open for you right now, and let's go to Paul, and Chris, we'll get to you in a moment. Paul, we got just a couple minutes. You're on with Governor Gary Johnson.
I'd just like to thank you, Rob, and Governor Johnson for keeping the spirit of freedom alive. I just hear so much of what we all are supposed to do, but not the enforcement of me as a person or you or Governor Johnson of what the government is actually supposed to do instead of the government telling me what to do. But thank you both for keeping the spirit of freedom alive. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks very much for your call. It's nice that you recognize that. I think, today as we look at the government schools and how kids are graduating, I'm not even sure they recognize the spirit of freedom or what it means. It's pretty remarkable.
I agree.
All righty, 977-1070 is the phone number, and let's go to Chris, who's on line number 3, and we're in our last few minutes with Governor Gary Johnson. Chris, thanks for calling the Schilling Show.
Thank you. Governor, I have a question for you. It's not exactly a real pointed question, but it seemed to me that the Republican Party in the past, one of the things that led me toward it was personal freedoms. But I feel like a big part of the conservative movement, and thus part of the Republican Party now, is a lot more socially conservative and somewhat evangelical, and a lot of those stances to me are very anti-personal freedom. And I was wondering, just your take on that. To me, kind of a battle currently in the party.
You know, Chris, I don't get that sense. I think just as many what you would be calling social conservatives really understand, for example, the drug issue, that it is about personal freedom. It's about personal freedom, liberty, and the responsibility that goes along with that. I do think there's a perceived perception between the two, but I'm really, with Our America initiative, I'm trying to make myself a spokesman for what I do believe to be the issues of the day. And I'm a Republican. I intend to stay a Republican, and I've just found great reception with Republicans all across the spectrum. And we'll see if that goes anywhere.
All right, Chris, thanks very much for the call. And he mentioned the social issues, and one of the things that we talk a lot about on this program is abortion. What is your position on abortion in America?
Well, I support a woman's right to choose up until viability of the fetus, and I, as governor, would have signed a late-term banning late-term abortion. I would have supported parental notification, counseling, and wherever possible, I always supported or did not support the use of taxpayer funding for abortion.
977-1070 is the phone number. Went to the last few minutes. There is at least one, if not multiple, websites that appear presidential websites for you. Have you announced a run for President of the United States in 2012, Gary Johnson?
So, Rob, I'm a 501c4. It's an advocacy committee. I'm the honorary chairman, which allows me to raise money and speak out on the issues of the day. And as part of the 501c4, I can't say anything about running for any sort of office. Well, so I don't want to get sideways with my 501c4.
We don't want you to, but I will say there's obviously a lot of people out there who are interested in this happening because they have created websites that
it's
promote
very
that. So
it's very flattering.
I'm sure that it is. All righty. So as we deal with America today and we look at America today, how far away are we from the Constitution and constitutional intent?
I don't know as we're that far away, but it does involve focus on just that. And you hit it on the head. It's constitutional intent. It's viewing the Constitution on the original intent of the Founding Fathers, and that needs to be the interpretation. And I do think we're getting further away, but I don't know as it takes so much to get it back to refocus. There is a blueprint for making America great. It's the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Governor Gary Johnson, it's been great to have you with us. And again, online at ouramericainitiative.com. And Leon's got it up on show notes right now. If you're not able to write it down, just go to shillingshow.com and click the show notes button. Again, tonight, the address will be taking place at Northside Library in Albemarle Square, 7 o'clock p.m., and Governor Gary Johnson will be speaking on subjects from A to Z and anything in between. I'm sure he's happy to talk about anything you want to ask him about. It's going to be a fascinating conversation. It's sponsored by both the Albemarle and the Charlottesville Republican committees locally, but anybody's welcome. It is open, and there sound like there are going to be a number of terrific ideas discussed. I want to thank you for joining us here today on the Schilling Show. It's been a great hour.
And again, thank you very much for having me on.
All right, and you'll be welcome back again and again. We hope to have you here in Charlottesville.
Take advantage of that.
All righty, and that's going to wrap it up for the Schilling Show today. Hey, we've got a lot going on coming up later on this week, and Jim Pace will be here tomorrow talking about should we fire God? He's a pastor who wrote about what happened at Virginia Tech, and if people are particularly concerned about that, we'll have a chance to ask him, where was God in all of this? Also coming up later on this week, in fact, tomorrow, Laura Hollis will join us again. She's become a popular regular guest talking about Arizona immigration law. Ken White from the Virginia Taxpayers Association joins us on Wednesday, and there are people that want to meet Ken White. Put it on your calendar because you can come into the studio and shake his hand when he's here with us on Wednesday. Martin Moyer, Islam Rising, his new film, that's on Thursday. Lots and lots going on here on the Schilling Show. And, of course, we'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, robs@wina.com.